If you can kick someone from your moral high ground without hesitation, you don't own the moral high ground. In fact, you might have just conceded it. Nothing good can come from the progressive left, acting like thugs, thinking that they have the moral authority to be judge, jury, and executioner. Too many people, and for too long, have carelessly defended, encouraged, and supported these actions. How long do you think you can keep pushing people? Until people start pushing back. Do you think people will make the distinction between those who have acted and those who have supported it when they finally say enough is enough? Anyone supporting or defending these barbarians are showing amazing short-sightedness. As if this violence continues, it will only result in more violence, the extent of which will surely only escalate. One man has already been savagely beaten to a coma, for fuck's sake. Crowton T has recently done a video which gives historical examples of the dangers of which I'm talking about. His part on the Italian crisis is particularly telling of the dangers of encouraging this behaviour. I believe it is essential for the whole of the left to condemn these actions, no matter how far left you are, feminist or not, SJW or not, if you want the left to stand a chance of winning a democratic vote. The Democrats have lost 2/3 of their voters since 2008. Jeremy Corbyn's approval rating is only 13%. The left was already in trouble before the Antifa riots or Berkeley riots. We already had to deal with liars in our media, celebrities virtue signalling and talking down to people, and politicians that no longer represent the interests of the working class. So even just defending these people who are going around burning shit down, destroying property, beating people up, all because they dare to tolerate someone else's view, or God forbid, happen to have a different view. All because some people think that a gay race mixing Jew could be a fucking Nazi. This is my message then to the progressive left. Start calling these criminals out for what they are. If the world sees elements of the left acting like thugs, and left-wing media and prominent figures defending this, the world will start to see us as thugs.
So my message to the progressives is stop supporting Islam, stop supporting theocracy, and stop labelling people who criticise Islam as Islamophobes or anti-Muslim bigots. You guys, I'm sorry, gender-neutral people, always talk about gaslighting, but you are doing exactly that, and shutting down the much-needed conversation about radical Islam and its influence on the world. If you want to stand with Muslims who do actually get attacked by bigoted people, then fine, I'm all for that and I will stand with you. But to say that Islam is a feminist religion, that Muslims are the true feminists, and that Muhammad was a feminist is absolutely ridiculous. You're only going to stop any kind of discussion, any kind of progress, and any kind of solution from going forth. We need to listen to ex-Muslims. We need to listen to those who are living in fear in Muslim countries, both men and women. And we need to listen to people who want to reform, although in my opinion, reforming is a little pointless since the religion is literally described as being perfect. So any kind of reformation would be kind of making it worse, I guess. Stop blaming everyone else but the terrorists for terrorist attacks, and stop blaming cartoonists for agitating people, justifying why murderers shot the main officers in cold blood. And also, stop patronising Muslims for assuming that mere criticism of their religion is enough to get them to join ISIS, despite the fact that there's a narrative in the progressive circles that terrorism has nothing to do with Islam. Don't stand for people who are pro-Sharia, don't stand for people who are anti-liberal and anti-progressive, and don't stand by someone who is literally pushing an anti-human law. I know the left is better than this, and the sooner we stop with apologism for Islam and Islamic terror, with identity politics and with political correctness, the better we will all become for the future. So where do I think we should go? Where do I think the left should go? I think we should stick to our principles and call out racism, not just from white people, but from everyone as well. We should allow people with the most abhorrent of views to our platform so we know where they're coming from, so we can smash down their shitty arguments with our arguments which are just better. Because light is the best disinfectant, and this is the best way to tackle this kind of speech. Another one is, don't go around punching people who haven't done anything against you. Because that isn't going to help you, and in fact it's only going to make them want to punch back, and it's only going to make it even worse. Because that's not going to help anyone, and it's not going to lessen any kind of racial tension that is going on right now. I know the left is better than this. I know the left is capable of dumping the regressives, and yes, draining the swamp of the regressive aspect of the left that is pushing people away from the left and to the right.
Yeah, there guys, Mim here. Now my video this week was going to be regarding the violence that took place surrounding Donald Trump's inauguration. And then, of course, Skeptic Fox reaches out from the ether of Twitter and says that he's putting together a collab pretty much on this topic. I was like, fucking A, bruv, looks like great minds do think alike. And of course, anyone else in this collab video is resoundingly awesome too. But here's the thing, the protests, or I guess you could say violence that took place because of the Antifa Black Bloc, is indicative of the sentiment from the left. Obviously, you look at Madonna, for example, who's sitting there saying that she thought about blowing up the White House like she's some old, haggard, extremely wealthy Guy Fawkes. Or in this case, it'd be Girl Fawkes. Lady Fawkes? Fawkes fluid. Either way, we have celebrities, people in power, people with an awful load of social capital calling for violent revolutionary change. And of course they are. To them, Trump is the personification of evil. He is everything they have been waiting for over the past 8 years. A past 8 years where social media and slacktivism twinned with social concern, I guess you could say, has become the popular mainstream. Is consolidating this anti-corporate, anti-religious, anti-nationalist, anti-industrial, and anti-masculine sentiment into a singular effigy that is Trump. These people over the past 8 years have wanted to rail against someone like Donald Trump, except for the fact that they didn't necessarily have it. They had Obama. They had their guy in office. You saw it a little bit with the Occupy Wall Street protests. You saw it a little bit in the support for Bernie Trump. And now they're not getting that. To them, at least, it seems to legitimize their view that they are fighting the good fight. They are the ones standing up for egalitarianism, humanitarianism, the rights of people, the rights of the environment, and all these things which, on a surface level, appear to be nothing more than, well, for lack of a better word, jingoism. It's warring rhetoric. It's the things they say to get themselves pumped. It's the postmodern equivalent of smashing your sword against your shield. They don't seem to know particularly why they're fighting, or at least on any real deep philosophical or intellectual level, but all they know is that there's the bad guy that needs his teeth kicked in. And no clearer was this represented in the guy who ran up and punched Sean Spencer, prompting questions of, is it okay to punch a Nazi? Because Captain America once did that in a fictional comic. And this is coming from someone who thinks that Sean Spencer is a cretin. But that's what we're seeing, the most basic, stupid dog whistles. What's that? Is Sean Spencer wearing a Pepper Le Frog lapel pin? BAM! Fuck you, Nazi. I've been told that you're a bad person and I am here because I'm a good person to fight the good fight. And again, it's very, very difficult not to pull parallels between what's going on in America right now and the French Revolution, in which there was popular upheaval and resentment of the privileges enjoyed by the clergy and the aristocracy. It started with a storming of the Bastille, as well as a woman's march in some French city whose name I can't pronounce. Versailles? Maybe? Fuck you, French. And what happened over the next few years was political struggles between liberal assemblies and right-wing supporters of the French monarchy and the French aristocracy. Over that period of time, France transformed into a democracy, which is great. There was a secular body, legalization of divorce, decriminalization of same-sex marriages, as well as developments of civil rights. However, it ended in the beheading of the king. It ended in the death of priests. They were being slaughtered in the streets. So much so it was known as the Reign of Terror, in which enemies of the revolution were murdered. So much so that the guillotine was the symbol of the revolution. And even the romantic poets of Britain changed their tune on the French Revolution when they went there and saw the atrocities firsthand. However, one massive difference between the French Revolution and the current resistance to Donald Trump is the fact that people have the human rights in which they were seeking in the French Revolution. America has it. The only difference being is that society doesn't seem to work perfectly. But yet, what can we do? What can we do to try and avoid a sort of leftist reign of terror, if you want? To which the only thing I can say is be magnanimous in victory. I think it genuinely is time now to focus less on the silliness of SJWs, of which there is an awful load of silliness, don't get me wrong, and focus more on the organisations, or even the loose-knit organisations, focusing on things that Antifa are doing, that Black Lives Matter are doing. Undoubtedly, the number of various women's groups that are going to spring up because of the women's marches, and dedicating content to demonstrating just how dangerous these people actually are. It's time to build bridges with SJWs and sort of sit there and say, yes, you got your ass kicked, and it's okay. Everyone gets their ass kicked every once in a while. But no, we're not coming to take things away from you. We're also keeping a close eye on Donald Trump. We're watching what he does. And let's try and find common ground on things that we both sit there and say, actually, yeah, no, that's pretty fucked up. I know one of the ones for me was the instigation of that golden gag order. Or is it golden gag rule? I can't remember. Yes, there will be people on both extremes who sit there and say that SJWs and anti-SJWs have nothing in common and there can't be any form of a middle ground. You seem to notice that these people don't actually want constructive dialogue. They just want to prove that their own perception of reality is right. But I do think time has come to stop focusing on how people are so wrong and start focusing on how people are being wholly destructive, wholly violent, and are wholly threatening to otherwise innocent people who just happen to have a slight difference in political opinion. The SJWs lost. They got cocky. Their hubris was astounding, and we cannot make the same mistake in being equally arrogant in victory. Anyway, I've been Mim Headroom. There will be more.